Hey everybody, Unstable Gamer here, and welcome back to Disney Mirrorverse. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this month's tier list. It's the beginning of February. Lots to talk about. We have some new Guardians that have joined the roster, so we're going to find out where we've placed them as well. But first, before we get into that, if you're just now finding this channel and you want to stay up to date with this and other games, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out. All right, and welcome back. Just a quick reminder, all the links to my social media are in the description below. My tier list. Disclaimer, this is my thoughts, my opinions, and my experiences with each one of these Guardians in the game. Now, every Guardian that I have so far is at least level 30. I do have a couple that are now at level 40. Most are 5-star. I have a couple that are 4-star, 3-star, and then I have a 2-star. So I've had an opportunity to get pretty familiar with each one of these, and I've placed them in either A, B, C, or D tier. There is no God tier. There is no S tier. There's no double S or triple S tier. It is straight up A, B, C, D. The reason for that is because games that are in beta or soft launch, they tend to change quite a bit. Characters, Guardians, Toons, whatever you want to call them, change quite a bit. Their kits change. Balance changes are made before it hits global launch. So once we hit global launch, then we'll start taking a look more closely at some of those S God tier type tier levels. But until we get a better understanding of where each one of these Guardians, what the full roster is going to look like, and where each one of these Guardians' final version lands before global, then we'll go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so let's take a look at the list. Standard color format across mobile games. Blue is typically your tanks, red is typically your attackers, and green is typically your support. Yellow in this game is for ranged. So let's go ahead and discuss D tier. The only change to D tier, so Scar and Sully continue to stay in the D tier. Really, Scar doesn't do the amount of damage that he did prior to this update, and his wound, and which is his bleed, and his damage just doesn't really stack up to everybody else in this game. Sully, as far as tanks go, I think tanks in this game, there's something left to be desired for tanks so far in this game. Sully, I think of all the tanks, is probably the one that has the least use, in my opinion. There is some functionality with him. I know some people do like him. It's just when you take a look at progressing through this game and progressing through the Tower of Troubles and things like that, he just doesn't stand up to everybody else in this game. Goofy. Now, Goofy, he was available for a short period of time in the Alliance store. Now, you're working, if you're in Alliance, you're working completing Alliance quests and collecting laurels. Laurels is the currency that you're going to be using in your Alliance store. The store was available for a couple days and then was taken down due to some issues, but it will be back, and Goofy is in that store. Now, anybody who had an opportunity to collect pieces of him may have gotten them up to about a 2-star. I don't think anybody had the opportunity to get him up to a 3-star. So a 2-star Guardian, you really don't have a good sense of where they may place on a tier list. So why do I have them in D? Well, first, because part of this tier list, too, is also the availability and functionality of these Guardians. So he's not very available. You can only get him up to a 2-star, so when you take a look at his current state and where you can get him maxed out currently, which is really the 2-star, he doesn't really serve much of a purpose right now. Now, when you take a look at his kit is interesting. His attack does ricochet to a couple enemies. He does reduce armor, and he does reduce defense buffs as well, has an opportunity for that. So there are some interesting pieces to his kit. I just don't know when you compare him up to like Buzz Lightyear, who reduces armor as well, but reduces 100% armor. He hits multiple targets as well. When you stack him up to the two, I still think Buzz Lightyear is going to pull ahead. We'll find out once we have an opportunity to test him a little bit more. But right now, Goofy's going to go ahead and stay in that D tier. C tier. The big change here is Baymax. So Oogie Boogie Buzz Lightyear continues to stay in the C tier. Again, I believe the tanks in this game, they're lacking a little bit. They don't really feel like tanks because they are all very squishy, except for Baymax. And that is except for now. So what I mean by that, so Baymax was fantastic. He was great. He has an ability that provides defense as well as armor. The armor was also a benefit to himself, but I don't know if it's been confirmed to be a bug in the game or whatever yet. I don't know if there's any confirmation of that, but he does not give himself armor anymore, which makes him very, very squishy. So, and by that, if you're not familiar with the term squishy, you can burn down his health pretty quick. I haven't been able to get through Tower of Troubles with him. I have been able to get through Tower of Troubles with Oogie Boogie. If you haven't seen it, I did put a video together showing a couple team compilations that I was able to successfully complete the Tower of Troubles level 20, which is the max floor right now. If you want to see that, I'll go ahead and link it up over here. I do use Oogie Boogie for one of those, but Baymax, without that ability to give him armor, in his current state, I had to drop him down. He used to be in A tier. I had to drop him down in C tier. He's a little bit better than Sully in his current form because he does give that defense, which is fantastic. And he does give armor. He also stuns his enemies. So there's a lot of great functionality with him. In Oogie Boogie, I like the fact that Oogie Boogie gives attack down, and not just to who he's currently attacking, but he gives attack down. His bugs go out to everybody and does attack down on all opponents on the battlefield. So there's some functionality there as well. Again, all of them, though, just feel very squishy. Also, when you think about a tank, you think about taunting and being that meat shield to take all the hits, and the tanks in this game just currently don't feel like tanks. So that's where we are with C tier. B tier, so we have some new changes here in B tier. We went ahead. Rapunzel had a little bit of a buff, does some additional damage. She does some nice damage now. She can hit multiple targets. She's always been able to do that. But the buff to her damage in this game, I think, was enough to bump her up from the C tier to the B tier. And I've enjoyed playing with her in the arena and in these different battles and just testing her out. So nice little damage buff there. Maleficent and Jack Sparrow continue to stay in the B tier. They're both great. Maleficent's great for a range character. She does attack debuffs. Is it attack debuffs or defense debuffs? I think it's defense debuffs. And with that, when you do her special, she creates a burn, which is a damage over time, a dot, which is good as well. I just don't think she's at the level. She's definitely not at the level of Merida, so I don't feel like she belongs in the A tier right now. So she is currently in the B tier. Definitely very usable. Definitely a good character. I think you pair her up with Judy Hopps, who also does the defense debuffs. Just spreads those defense debuffs across the battlefield and allows for more of that burn. But you do have 2 range characters in a team of only 3, so you got to kind of figure out who you want to put in there and what you want that team to look like. Jack Sparrow, great healer. I think Belle nudges them out just a little bit because she applies defense. She's got some nice talents where when her heals crit, it provides defense as well. So she's got a nice kit there. So Jack Sparrow, great healer. I think they're neck and neck, but Jack's just a little bit below. When you go into battles that need cleansing because of the debuffs and everything that you have, Jack is by far better in those battles right there. Scrooge McDuck, I think he's fantastic. I love this guy. I think he's got decent heals. The thing about Scrooge, though, and if you watch that video that I linked up over there, the thing about him is really the focus. So one of the teams that I used to clear floor 20 has Belle, Scrooge McDuck, and then Merida. I don't have any tanks. I don't have any attackers. It's just the ranged and the 2 support. Because of the focus, because of the increase to focus, which increases the crit, it gives Merida the ability to do so much damage. I have done almost 12k crits using that combination right there. So he does well. He's got some nice healing, some decent healing. I don't think he out-heals Jack or Belle, but he's got some pretty decent healing. But his focus buff is just fantastic. I think it's absolutely awesome. And then Judy Hopps. Judy Hopps does do some decent damage. She gets the defense debuff out there. She also does some rootings. Now, I have not been able to make it through floor 20 with her just yet. Doesn't mean you can't. It's just I haven't been able to make it through to the end with her without her taking too much damage or really making enough difference on the battlefield. And when I say make it through floor 20, make it through floor 20 at a 3-star with everybody lasting to the end. So Judy Hopps, I think she's great. I think she belongs in B tier. All right, next, Merida. I don't think there's anything to say there. Merida is absolutely fantastic. She does a ton of damage. Her crit, she can crit so much, so often. And again, if you take a look at that video, you'll see how much damage that she can do, especially when you pair up her with Scrooge and you get the talents right. She just does so much damage. By far, the most damage done by any single Guardian in the game. Merida, not Merida, but Mulan. So Mulan did have a little bit of a damage debuff. I don't think it was enough to really take her out of the A tier and put her into anything else there. I do like the fact that she does give herself a defense buff. She does hit multiple enemies with her basic. She hits multiple enemies with her special as well. She just does a ton of damage. The only issue that I really see with Mulan right now is she doesn't punch up very well. And what I mean by that is if you get her and the team together and you go against a team that is similar in power or slightly above, not much, she can do some pretty decent damage, and she really starts taking down these health bars. But when you try and punch up too much, then it takes forever for her to really take anybody out. Now, you can do it, but she just doesn't take anybody out as quickly as she did. But she still is a fantastic damage dealer. I think she's slightly above Rapunzel, which is why I have her in A tier. Belle, we talked about her a little bit earlier. She was in B. I moved her into A. Just her defense buffs, the crits on her heals, the support that she provides to the team is fantastic. Now, she does a heal over time based heal where Scrooge and Jack do direct heals. I have her in that video too, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. So there you go, everybody. That is my thoughts. That is where I feel everybody lands based on the experience that I've had in the game with each one of them. Definitely would like to hear your thoughts. Are you playing the game, and who's your favorite Guardian in the game right now? And what do you think of this tier list and maybe other tier lists that you've taken a look at? All right, everybody, that is what I had for you. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.